5 Lessons from Buddha to transform your life path to inner peace. Welcome to Life Lessons, where we explore the profound teachings of Buddhism and life lessons that can help us live with greater peace and happiness. In the fast-paced world we live in, filled with constant pressure and change, we often forget the importance of finding inner peace and true happiness. Have you ever felt caught in a cycle of anxiety, stress, and endless concerns? Today, we will walk with you through 5 profound lessons from the Buddha, timeless teachings that not only help you understand yourself better but also open the path to transforming your life and discovering inner peace. These principles are not abstract theories but practical guidelines that can be applied in any situation, anywhere, by anyone seeking to live a more meaningful life. So, take a moment to join us as we delve into these lessons, and learn how you can incorporate them into your life to create a world full of love, balance, and tranquility. Are you ready to begin this journey? Let's explore together. Lesson 1: Live in the present moment. The past is gone, the future is yet to come. Only the present moment is real. The teachings of the Buddha emphasize that the present is the only moment we truly live. In the Anapanasati Sutta, the discourse on the mindfulness of breathing, the Buddha teaches that by being aware of our breath, we can connect ourselves to the present moment and avoid getting caught up in thoughts about the past or future. Why live in the present? We often spend too much time regretting past mistakes or worrying about an uncertain future. This not only wastes mental energy but also weakens our ability to appreciate the goodness of the present moment. Buddha pointed out that both the past and the future are mere illusions, they exist only in our minds, while the present is the realm where reality unfolds. The past is gone, Buddha says. Clinging to the past is like trying to hold on to a reflection in water. It's gone and cannot be changed. The future is uncertain, worrying about the future only creates fear and insecurity, and in reality, we can never be sure of what will happen. Practicing living in the present according to Buddha's teachings. Mindfulness in every moment. Mindfulness, sati, is a core element of the Noble Eightfold Path. It is a state of clear and focused awareness of what is happening in the present moment, both internally and externally. By practicing mindfulness, you can focus on your breath. Try breathing deeply, noticing that you are breathing in, and when you breathe out, recognize that you are exhaling. This simple act helps you stay present. Pay attention to sensations, sounds, or sights around you without judging or labeling them. Let go of wandering thoughts. Buddha often taught that the mind is like a monkey, jumping from one thought to another. When we notice our mind wandering, it is important to gently bring it back to the present without self-criticism, treating it with compassion. Enjoy the simple joys. Buddha teaches that happiness is not found in great accomplishments but in appreciating the small joys in life. For example, enjoy the taste of a meal, the warmth of the morning sun, or the peace of a quiet conversation with a loved one. The benefits of living in the present. Reduce stress and anxiety. When we are not preoccupied with the past or the future, our minds become lighter, and our mental stress is reduced. Enhance quality of life. You begin to see and appreciate the beauty and value of simple, everyday things. Develop wisdom and compassion. Being present allows you to understand yourself and your relationships with others more deeply. A story from the Buddha's teachings. Once, the Buddha asked his disciples, "If someone shoots an arrow at you, you will feel pain. But if you keep thinking about the arrow, you are shooting another arrow into yourself. Why make the suffering worse by dwelling on it?" This story illustrates that we often cause ourselves more suffering by clinging to the past or worrying about the future. Learning to live in the present moment is the key to releasing those extra arrows, bringing peace to the mind. Living in the present may seem simple, but it is a powerful practice. As you embrace this teaching, you will realize that life can be lighter, more joyful, and more beautiful. As the Buddha said, "Live as if today were your last day, but act as if you will live forever." Lesson 2: Letting go of attachment. Happiness comes from letting go, not from possession. In Buddhist philosophy, attachment, upadana, is the root of suffering. The Buddha teaches that when we cling to material possessions, thoughts, or people, our minds become bound and we cannot achieve peace. True happiness does not lie in ownership but in the ability to release what no longer serves our spiritual growth. Why does attachment cause suffering? Attachment arises from greed, lobha, one of the three poisons, the three unwholesome roots, along with hatred, dosa, and delusion, moha. When we cling, we create expectations that these things will bring us everlasting happiness. However, because everything is impermanent, anicca, nothing lasts forever. When what we cling to changes or is lost, we experience suffering, disappointment, and emptiness. Example, a person who loves a valuable item. When that item is lost or damaged, they not only lose the material possession but also the happiness they had associated with it. Illustrative story, a man who could not let go. In the scriptures, there is a story about a man who owns a precious ceramic vase. He cherishes it deeply and constantly worries about it breaking. One day, while cleaning, he accidentally drops the vase, shattering it into pieces. The man not only feels heartbroken but also experiences anger and self-blame. His mind continues to obsess over the vase, as if this fixation could restore it. In reality, he is only amplifying his own suffering. The Buddha teaches that the vase was already broken the moment it was created, due to its impermanent nature. If the man understood that everything in life has an end, he could appreciate the vase while it was intact without clinging to it. How to let go of attachment. Awareness of impermanence. The Buddha teaches that everything in the universe changes. Nothing lasts forever, including possessions, relationships, or even our own bodies. Understanding this nature of impermanence helps reduce clinging and prepares the mind to face loss. Practice. Look at something you cherish and ask yourself, what would happen if I lost it? How would I react? Mindfulness in emotions. When you feel suffering from loss or disappointment, practice mindfulness to recognize your emotions. Observe without judgment, as if you are watching a cloud drift across the sky. This helps you avoid getting swept away by emotions and makes it easier to let go. Practice. When you notice yourself clinging, take a deep breath and remind yourself, I own nothing. Everything is temporary. Finding joy in giving. The Buddha emphasizes that sharing and giving bring longer-lasting joy than ownership. When you give, you not only free yourself from attachment but also sow seeds of kindness in others. Practice. Try giving away an item you don't truly need, or help someone without expecting anything in return. Ask yourself, what is binding me? Take time to reflect on what you are clinging to, an object, a relationship, or an idea about yourself. Are you expecting these things to bring you lasting happiness? If so, try to let go little by little and observe the changes in your mind. Benefits of letting go. A lighter soul. When unbound, you feel freer and more at ease. Enhanced wisdom. Clear awareness of the true nature of things helps you make wiser decisions. Lasting happiness. Instead of seeking happiness externally, you begin to explore the source of happiness within. Letting go does not mean abandoning everything, it means changing how you perceive and interact with them. As the Buddha taught, letting go is the way to find true freedom. So, today, what can you let go of to lighten your soul? Lesson 3. Be kind to everyone. The Buddha teaches that compassion is the path to happiness. In the teachings of the Buddha, compassion, metta, loving-kindness and karuna, compassion, is regarded as one of the noblest qualities a person can develop. Compassion not only benefits others but is also the best way for you to find true happiness and peace. What is compassion? In Buddhism, compassion is not pity or a charitable attitude, it is a sincere desire for all beings to be happy and free from suffering. It is unconditional love that is impartial and does not come with personal gain. The Buddha teaches that compassion begins with oneself. When you learn to love and forgive yourself, you can then extend that love to those around you. Why does compassion lead to happiness? Reduces hatred and anger. The Buddha said that hatred never ceases through hatred, but only through love. When you practice compassion, there is no room for anger, jealousy, or resentment in your mind. This helps you feel lighter and happier. Deeper connections with others. When you are kind and genuinely care for others, you create more meaningful relationships. This connection brings warmth and a sense of belonging that money or success cannot replace. Nurtures inner peace. Compassion allows you to live with a tranquil and grateful mindset. You no longer feel threatened by the negative actions or words of others because you understand that everyone carries their own suffering. Illustrative story, the Buddha and the insulter. Once, while the Buddha was giving a teaching, a man came and insulted him. The Buddha remained calm and did not respond. After the man left, the disciples asked him why he did not react. The Buddha smiled and said, "If someone brings a gift but I do not accept it, to whom does that gift belong?" This story illustrates that compassion is not weakness, it is strength. The Buddha did not take on the anger of the other person but instead kept his heart pure and peaceful. How to practice compassion. Start with yourself. Be kind to yourself by accepting your flaws. Do not be too harsh or self-critical, treat yourself the way you would like others to treat you. Practice, each day, take a few minutes to thank yourself for your efforts. Practice compassion with others. Compassion does not require grand gestures. Sometimes, a smile, a word of encouragement, or simply listening to someone can make a difference. Practice, look for an opportunity to do something kind every day, even if it's a small act. Loving kindness meditation, metta bhavana. This is a popular meditation practice in Buddhism where you spend time sending positive energy and wishes for happiness to yourself, loved ones, strangers, and even those you may dislike. Practice, while meditating, you can repeat the phrase, "May all beings be happy, be safe, and be free from suffering." Forgiveness and letting go. Forgiveness is an important part of compassion. When you forgive, you not only free others but also liberate yourself from the bondage of hatred. Practice, if someone has hurt you, try to look at them with empathy and understand that they may be suffering. Benefits of being kind to others. You will feel a more peaceful and happier mind. You build meaningful and positive relationships with those around you. You become a source of positive inspiration, spreading good energy to the community. Compassion is the light that guides you and those around you out of suffering. As the Buddha taught, be like a lamp, spreading light and love wherever you go. What can you do today to bring joy and happiness to someone else? Lesson 4, do not cling to the self. Happiness lies not in protecting the self but in recognizing our connection with others. Buddhist teachings on non-self. In Buddhism, the concept of non-self, anatta, is one of the three marks of existence, alongside impermanence, anicca, and suffering, dukkha. The Buddha teaches that there is no permanent, fixed, and independent self, rather, we are all part of an invisible web of connections with the world around us. The self, or ego, is merely an artificial concept we create, tied to our thoughts, emotions, and illusions of personal existence. According to the Buddha, the self that we protect and cling to only increases our suffering. When we constantly worry about defending ourselves and our ego, we create a divide between ourselves and others. This leads to a life filled with comparison, struggle, and pain. Failing to recognize that the self is merely an illusion makes us victims of attachment, causing us more suffering rather than happiness. Why clinging to the self causes suffering? The self is vulnerable. When you cling to the self, you feel hurt whenever you are criticized, overlooked, or do not receive the recognition you desire. This makes you easily susceptible to feelings of inadequacy or anger. The self creates division. The self constantly seeks to distinguish between me and others, between this self and that self. This makes it difficult to empathize with and understand others. When the self is too strong, we fail to see the connections we share with those around us and instead focus solely on differences. The self pushes us into endless desire. Living for the self means you will never feel satisfied. The self always demands recognition, success, and personal gain. Even when you achieve these things, you still feel a sense of lack and dissatisfaction because the self always wants more. Happiness from letting go of the self. Recognizing connection with others. One of the important lessons in Buddhism is that we are not isolated individuals, we are all interconnected. By letting go of the self, you realize that you do not live alone in this world, every action you take affects others. You will see that we are all part of a greater whole. Freedom from letting go. When you stop worrying about protecting the self, you feel lighter. No longer needing to live in fear or anxiety about loss, you can live more freely and peacefully. Development of compassion. Letting go of the self allows you to cultivate compassion and tolerance for others. You no longer judge others based on differences, instead, you see shared suffering and desire to help. Practices for letting go of the self. Observe your emotions. One effective way to let go of the self is to observe your feelings and thoughts without becoming entangled in them. Whenever you feel angry, hurt, or overly excited, ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Am I trying to protect myself? This helps you recognize the non-self within yourself. Practice compassion with others. Open your heart and see others not as competitors but as fellow beings sharing in pain, joy, and life's challenges. When you treat others with compassion and tolerance, you will realize that the self is merely a barrier between you and genuine connection. Accept change and imperfection. The self often wants everything to go according to its wishes. However, in Buddhism, change and imperfection are natural parts of life. Learning to accept this helps you let go of control and embrace everything that comes your way. Illustrative story. Once, the Buddha taught his disciples, imagine a farmer who plants seeds. He cannot control how the soil will grow or how the crops will turn out. But if he cares for the plants with compassion, without greed or resistance, they will naturally thrive. This story reminds us that when we let go of the self and the need for control, everything unfolds as it should. Letting go of the self does not mean abandoning oneself or losing one's individuality, rather, it means understanding that the self is not everything. When you realize non-self, you will see that you and others are not separate but connected through empathy and love. Allow the self to be a part of life, not a burden that weighs you down. By letting go of the self, you will find true freedom and happiness in life. Lesson 5: Understanding Impermanence. Everything in life changes, and this is normal. Teachings on impermanence. In Buddhism, impermanence, anicca, is one of the three fundamental characteristics of existence, along with suffering, dukkha, and non-self, anatta. The Buddha teaches that all things and phenomena are unstable, not fixed, and always changing over time. Nothing lasts forever, and this applies not only to external material objects but also to our moods, emotions, and thoughts. Recognizing impermanence helps us avoid clinging to things we perceive as certain and eternal. When we understand that everything is subject to change, we learn to accept and face life's events more gracefully, reducing our suffering when confronted with loss or unexpected changes. Why impermanence is important in life. Change is the nature of life. Change is not something negative, it is a natural part of life. Everything around us, from relationships to jobs and possessions, has its own cycle. By recognizing impermanence, we stop feeling surprised or pained by change. Instead of resisting, we learn to adapt and accept, which helps reduce stress and anxiety. Reduces attachment and worry. We often cling to things we cherish or fear losing. When something changes or disappears, we feel pain. However, understanding that everything changes and that nothing is eternal allows us to worry less about losing what we love. Letting things flow as they are will bring relief and peace. Helps us live fully in the present. When we understand that everything changes, we no longer dwell in the past or worry about the future. We learn to embrace each moment fully, knowing that nothing lasts forever. Each moment is precious and worth cherishing, allowing us to enjoy life without missing the joys of the present. A story about impermanence. A well-known story from Buddhism illustrates impermanence through the tale of a king. This king was wealthy and powerful but constantly felt anxious and dissatisfied with his life. Despite having everything one could desire, he still felt a sense of lack and struggled to find happiness. One day, the king decided to seek happiness and consulted wise men and monks, considered the most knowledgeable and enlightened. They could not provide satisfactory answers. Finally, an old monk approached the king and gave him a ring. He said, "Wear this ring, and when you feel unhappy, look at it and remember that it will not last forever." The king was surprised but followed the advice. Over time, he began to understand that no matter how valuable or beautiful the ring was, it would eventually deteriorate. This realization helped him see that everything in life changes and nothing is permanent. The king stopped clinging to power and wealth, learning that happiness does not come from eternal things but from understanding and accepting change in life. Benefits of understanding impermanence. Reduces anxiety and stress. Understanding that everything changes helps us worry less about loss or unwanted changes. We learn to let go of what we cannot hold on to and accept these changes as part of life. Helps us live fully in the present. Awareness of impermanence allows us not to dwell in the past or future but to live fully in the now. Instead of fearing what might happen, we can experience joy and peace in this moment. Improves relationships. Impermanence helps us view relationships differently. We no longer cling to one person, condition, or outcome. We understand that all relationships have their time, and recognizing this allows us to live more harmoniously with others, without excessive expectations or dependencies. Accepts loss and change. Knowing that everything changes helps us feel less surprised or pained when facing loss. Everything, including pain, is temporary and will pass. We can navigate challenges more easily without feeling weighed down. Practices for understanding impermanence. Observe change in life. A simple way to practice understanding impermanence is to observe the changes happening in your own life. Start with small things, such as changes in the weather, your body, or your emotions. Recognizing change in the simplest matters helps you realize that life is always in flux. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is a method that helps you live fully in each moment. When you practice mindfulness, you become acutely aware of the changes within yourself and the world around you. This helps prevent you from getting caught up in thoughts about the past or worries about the future. Accept and let go. Learn to accept and let go of things that cannot be changed. Impermanence teaches us that everything has its time, and when something passes, something new will come to replace it. It is essential not to cling to the past but to embrace change naturally. Impermanence is an important lesson in Buddhism, helping us live more peacefully and happily. By understanding and accepting change, we no longer fear or suffer when facing the uncontrollable. Only by grasping the nature of impermanence can we live fully in each moment and enjoy life without being bound by temporary things. Conclusion. Thank you so much for taking the time to explore the timeless lessons from the Buddha with us today. These teachings offer profound wisdom that can help guide us toward a life of inner peace, compassion, and balance. We hope you found inspiration in these insights and are ready to begin applying them to your own life, step by step. We would love to hear from you. Which of these lessons resonated the most with you? How do you plan to incorporate them into your daily routine? Please share your thoughts with us in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and found it valuable, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Life Lessons for more content like this. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss out on future videos filled with wisdom and inspiration. Thank you again for being part of our community. We look forward to continuing this journey with you and sharing more teachings to help you grow, find peace, and live a fulfilling life. See you in the next video.